This is a special meeting of the Board of Estimate and Apportionment Wednesday, August 26th at 2 p.m. Stephanie, would you like to call the roll? Can we see everyone?
Yes. Mayor Cruzen,
I'm here.
Comptroller Green,
I'm here.
President Reed,
Here.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
all present.
Thank you. Items presented for the first time. 21.017. Request from the President of the Board of Aldermen's Office, Chief of Staff, for approval of a transfer of funds in the amount of $200,000 in accordance with Ordinance Number 71182 from Fund 1410, Center 120-2020, CARE, Pandemic 2020 Contingency to the Department of Health, Fund 1410, Center 700-2000, account 5659000 to pay costs associated with community outreach, food and safety supplies in response to COVID-19. Number 21.018, request from the President of the Board of Aldermen's Office, Chief of Staff, for approval of a transfer of funds in the amount of $50,000 in accordance with Ordinance Number 71182 from Fund 1410, Center 120-2020, CARE Pandemic 2020 Contingency to the Department of Health, Fund 1410, Center 700-2000, account 5636000 to pay costs associated with community education through radio. Number 21.019, request from the Comptroller's Office for approval of a transfer of funds in the amount of $60,000 in accordance with Ordinance 71182 from Fund 1410, Center 120-2020, CARE Pandemic 2020 Contingency to the Board of Election Commissioners, Department 334, to allow for the rental and operation of 3 satellite offices to process in-person absentee ballots during November 2020 election. Number 4, 21.020, request from the Comptroller's Office for approval of a contract with UCG Associates for the purpose of providing professional services to the Office of the Comptroller as it relates to analyzing the accounting and billing charges for voice network utilities and to find savings for the city of St. Louis. That's the extent of the agenda.
I move for adoption of items 1 through 4 as printed.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on any of the items?
No, I don't have any. I think everyone knows what item 1 entails, and item 2 is just additional funding so that we can get the word out in largely African-American communities, information related to COVID virus, the COVID-19 and the pandemic.
Right. And as you probably know, we are doing some of that already. The health department, Dr. Eccles is doing a lot of radio and has a consultant to help with that. So these funds will be helpful with that.
Yeah.
Item number 3, let me just say that we are working with the Board of Election to help them identify the 3 satellite locations that they're trying to find, one north, central, and south. And it would be a location where 3 to 4 weeks before the election, you would be able to go and vote absentee. Now you can do that, of course, at the election board. We've always been able to do that, but this would make, there were a lot of absentee votes in August. We anticipate even many more absentee votes in November. And so my office is working with them to identify those 3 locations. They are, I will just say in connection with that, they certainly do need more poll workers now, not just for these 3 satellite locations, but for the other 99 polling places as well. And so there is a board bill that's over at the Board of Aldermen. It's Board Bill 90, which it was introduced, I think, July the 2nd, and it has not been able to have a hearing yet. And there's funding in Board Bill 90, $150,000 in Board Bill 90 that came through the Secretary of State in order to also assist the election board with additional expenses as with regard to COVID. So I think this $60,000, which is an estimate and certainly a good starting point to help with the staffing and costs associated with operating 3 additional election absentee voting places is a good idea.
I want to say thank you, Madam Mayor and President Reed. This is something that is going to accommodate many of the people who are going to be trying to vote during this season.
Also,
Okay.
thank you, Madam Comptroller, also, and also thank you, Madam Mayor, for your work on these issues.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of items 1 through 4, please say aye.
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 Thank you. That was unanimous. So items 1 through 4 both pass. Just a couple of things, if I could, under other items that we might want to discuss. One is that, you know, we are still awaiting parts of the funding that came out of Board Bill 71-182, which was the CARES Act funding, CDBG, et cetera. And so we've got a lot of expenses out there, some of which, you know, we just need to be careful that we save enough to make sure that all of those expenses that we're committed to are being covered. And then the last thing that I would just remind everybody is that if you have any comments or feedback with regard to the draft rules that were discussed last week, that you just get those comments to Deb Deuster in the City Councilor's office so that we can take that up at our next regularly scheduled meeting. Does anybody have anything else?
No.
Motion?
So I move to adjourn this special session of the Board of ENA.
Great.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning? Aye.
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 Thank you all. Have a
Aye.
great
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.